Alright, so I saw this video by Geeks and Gamers. If you haven't checked out their channel, go ahead and check it out. If you're into like comic books, comic book based movies, anything of uh, Star Wars stuff like that. Just I guess common geek culture stuff. If you're into it, it's a good channel. But they had this thing on there with he was talking about the best fight at the MTV Movie Awards, and it obviously here, as you can see, is Captain Marvel winning versus Minerva. Now, I didn't watch the whole video. I watched like the first minute of it, but I already knew what the topic was going to be about because he was like, "Well, how did Captain America not win?" Versus, and I have to admit, man, like I didn't see Captain Marvel, but that last fight between Thanos and the rest of the Avengers, it was just an incredible sequence. Some may call it oversaturated. I thought that look, we dealt with 12 years, not 12 years, like 11 years, 11 to 12 years, I don't know, of these characters, man, waiting for the biggest fallout to all this shit, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. I thought it was a phenomenal win, So obviously, I would go over Arya Stark versus the White Walkers, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, however you say her, that be Ruth, some shit, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's what I'm gonna say. And then you have a WWE match on here, man, which is just hilarious, man. You have Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and it's obvious there's some woman empowerment here, man. Obviously, Ruth Bader Ginsburg versus Inequality, and WWE match against TV shows and movies, or a TV show and the movies. A TV show and movies, like you have these two things. Now, is this Ruth Bader Ginsburg a movie? I don't know. I doubt it, but it is. It is a movie. RBG. All right, it is a movie. Like it's obviously there's an agenda here, man. It's obviously there's an agenda here. But at this point, men are becoming women, and women have become the men because women are getting what they want. Right now, they're in a position of power, and men, we have been subjected to the bitch seat of the motorcycle where we're complaining about everything. We become women now. And how they felt before is now how we're starting to feel and how we're starting to express ourselves. I mean, it's not fixing anything. It's not fixing anything. And if you sit here and just intentionally focus on this, oh, the women is getting this, the women is getting that, like Arya Stark versus the White Walker. Season 8 of Game of Thrones was such a fucking mess. And this is me, my own personal opinion. Alright? When I watched the first 8 seasons or first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, I thought that it was building to a climax that never happened. And I felt like that show took prophecy and turned it into a bait and switch situation where they could keep leading you down this path, and then all of a sudden a big ass rock gets in your way. Now you can't go down this path that you were headed down for 7 fucking seasons. Now there's this little skinny path right here that opens up, and then you got to go down this path. It's like they use the prophecy storyline and tried to use it as a shock and awe moment in the end. And I did a Game of Thrones how I would have done it, because I thought they deprived Jon and they turned Jon into a shell of himself in season 8. Honestly, he's been a shell of himself for 2 seasons, but the season 8 was a mess, so I wouldn't even put Arya Stark up there. I would find another TV show or movie that had an adequate fight. Honestly, Daredevil, I know Daredevil is old as shit, but I think Daredevil just had a season 3. I don't know if it falls in line with this award show, but like I would go to a show like that, man, like versus an Arya Stark show. I mean, Game of Thrones versus Game of Thrones. I wouldn't go Game of Thrones, but it is what it is. I mean, they're obviously pushing some kind of agenda with that. Now, if you look at anything else, look, Avengers Endgame was best movie, and I'm pretty sure if Captain Marvel had his choice of best fight or best movie, they'll give it best movie. But they couldn't deny that Avengers Endgame was a better movie, a way better movie, and they had to they had to give Captain Marvel something, so they gave her best fight, which I don't have a problem with, man. Like, look, you know, they're acknowledging their allegiances, obviously, but in this situation, they're not letting common sense get away from them. You know, Bird Box was a good movie, so it's not like this is some shitty ass movie or some terrible movie that they're just trying to push. I mean, I don't have a problem with anything else. Now this down here, as best documentary, I wouldn't say all that. But I'm surprised Ruth Bader Ginsburg didn't win. But anything to spotlight the man in some predatory light is funny, you know. I mean, and this is the problem I have with a lot of this shit, man. They try to demonize men as monsters, and I'm not saying men can't be monsters. Like, I was watching this George Carlin comedy special, like an old comedy special, and he was talking about during his joke, he was saying that God must have been a man because there's no way God was a woman and let shit get this bad. And I thought that was an obvious. Come on, bro. Like, really? Like, you have that high of opinion and that low of opinion of a man that you would say some shit like that? I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, you know, my nephews live in this society, and I don't want them growing up thinking that they're some kind of potential monsters when they're not. They don't have to be. The more you treat people like wild animals, the more they will start to act like wild animals. And, you know, and that just does a disservice to the people that you're fucking demonizing. And this whole R. Kelly thing is nothing but demonizing, man, because to be honest, I believe most of these fucking celebrities, like, I don't know who the fuck that bitch is. It looked like Mary J. Blige, but I don't know who she is. And most likely she's sitting on that panel talking about R. Kelly and all the fucked up things R. Kelly was into. Most of those women on that fucking documentary were probably either getting dick down by R. Kelly or wanted to. And you know, that's the sad part, is that, yeah, sure, this dude did some fucked up shit, man, but the people he was surrounded was also twisted. Because birds of a feather do flock together, man. Like, you don't hang around somebody for a long period of time unless y'all allegiances align. And I find it hard to believe that these people dealt with R. Kelly for all these fucking years and want some of the sadistic shit that he apparently did, and nobody was, you know, everybody disapproved of it. It's funny how that happens. But it is what it is, man. And, you know, we're at the stage right now where, oh God, Gayle King is RuPaul. RuPaul, man. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, best real life hero. Roman Reigns, oh my God. Is this the cancer thing? Look, I did a video about Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns faked his cancer, man, because this dude lost no hair. This dude went through no chemotherapy, apparently, and he went into remission almost immediately. Like, he said, listen, I'm going to step down. I love this business. I love the fans, but I'm going to take some time away to deal with my illness. Then he came back. He didn't even really go anywhere. He was like drifting here and there for like 6 months, and then he comes back. Nigga looks the same, man. He ain't even cut his hair down. You could at least cut your hair down to make it look like you lost some shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I swear he lied about that shit, man. Like, come on, man. They only did that for the kids, man. Because there's no way an adult is gonna look at this dude who just had cancer for 6 months and not see any hair loss, but apparently he's in remission now. Like he's so fucking strong as a wrestler. He put his cancer in remission without any fucking radiation whatsoever. It's funny. That's funny. Game of Thrones best show. Of course, Lady Gaga, Star is Born won. I mean, I don't know. They keep talking about that shit, but I have no interest in watching it. I heard Us was a good movie, and Lupita Nyong'o. Nyong'o, I don't know how to say that last name, but yeah, I don't know, man. If I was to give it to anybody, it'd probably be Sandra Bullock or Lupita Nyong'o, whatever. Uh, I don't know, man. I don't have too much to say about any of the rest of this shit. And wait, what the fuck? Oh, best real life hero. All right, I was about to say, what the hell? Isn't this the same category? They had to put Carol. Where the fuck is Captain America? Really, you put Billy Batson in there and not Captain America? You put Maisie Williams. Oh my god, man. Look, and I've already said, man, Maisie Williams, Arya Stark is probably throughout this first 7 seasons of the show is like my top 5 in characters. I probably have put her above three people, but John has to be number 1 as far as best characters on the show. It's like her. It's like John, Arya, Tyrion. Jamie will probably be like 5, and then 4 I'll probably throw like Bronn or Brienne in there. But they pushed her so fucking hard, and it kind of ruined the character for me. And now I've watched the entire series of Game of Thrones, like from season 1 to season 7, like 3-4 times over the past 3 years. So I've been watching it a lot, man. And every time I watch it, I learn something new that I didn't know before. And I don't know, man. They just ruined it for me. They ruined it for me. Just like they ruined it for a lot of people. Season 8, it's supposed to be the capstone on the pyramid. But, yeah, they just fucked it up so bad. I don't really want to watch it anymore. And it just fucked it up for me. But, that's it, man. Look. We can either keep talking about this shit and allow this shit to encompass everything that we think about and everything that we feel, and we could turn ourselves into the people that we hate, or we could do something about it. Whether that's leave it alone completely and just ignore the shit, let them have their moment. Because, listen, like I said, I think I said this before, I don't have a problem with them having their moment. If they want to have their moment, let them have it. But I just don't want them to force me to have that moment. I don't want them to force me to acknowledge their moment. But we can either let them have their moment, or we can do something about it. Like really do something about it. But my suggestion is, every man has a problem with this shit. You have some men that, love these women so much that they're willing to give them anything they want. But for the men that has a problem with this shit, ignoring them is best. If you ever had a girlfriend where you had to fucking ignore them, it works. Women hate being ignored. If you ignore them, they hate that. They hate that more than anything. That's like a woman's kryptonite, is fucking just ignoring them. Just ignore them, man. So that's it, man. I'm done. All right.